All right, Nick, two NFC powerhouses, one current, one former, trying to return to greatness. Green Bay versus Dallas. Dallas had a strong start to the season. Green Bay kind of started slow. It looks like Green Bay's kind of starting to heat up a little bit here, Nick. And on the back of their young rookie receiver, Christian Watson, who had his breakout game today, Nick. And who else would have guessed that it would take Watson a little bit of time to heat up than these two guys right here? We always said that Dobbs was going to start out and be the number one guy, and it would take Watson a little bit of time to develop, but he had the speed, he had the athleticism, he had the size to be a good player, and today he had a breakout game, Nick. I think this was an incredible game for him, and hopefully Rodgers has found his receiver, found the guy that he trusts. But Nick, before we get into anything, Packers fans, I mean, there's a pretty obvious answer here, but who was your MVP of the game? Let us know in the comments below. Who was the MVP of the game? Maybe there's somebody that we missed. Let us know. But Nick, what do you think about this game?
So the Packers, right, all season long and even before the season, when people looked at the roster, obviously you have Aaron Rodgers, all-time great quarterback. You have a really good, talented defense. You've got a strong offensive line, a heck of a two-headed monster at running back, pretty good tight end and Tunyon when you come back and be healthy. But who is your receivers? Who's going to be your big play go-to guy receiver? And that's a question that, through the first 9 games or so of the season, there was no answer to that. That question has been answered. Christian Watson's performance today was absolutely unbelievable. The three touchdowns, obviously, 3 different kind of plays, the deep post on one of them, the vertical down the field, and then the shorter off of play action kind of dig post kind of route inside the red zone. But there's one play in particular that jumped out at me, Mize, and that was a 3rd down and 2, I think 3rd down and 2, 3rd down and 3. Late in the 4th quarter, Green Bay was backed up. They run like an underneath crossing pattern. Rodgers is under pressure. He dumps a throw low and behind Watson. Watson scoops it up for a clean catch and a 1st down. That was huge, obviously, because at that point they would have been forced to punt. Changes the entire complexion of the game. Packers go on to, of course, score and then win. So I look at Christian Watson. It's not just the big plays, Mize. It's not just the red zone scoring now. It's the fact that Rodgers looks to him in 3rd down situation. Allen Lazard was kind of kept quiet most of this game because of Trayvon Diggs did a good job on him. But the fact of the matter is Watson took advantage and won all the matchups he faced. Dallas threw a lot of different guys at him. They couldn't run with him. And especially in key moments like that 3rd down I just mentioned, Watson stepped up. And if the Packers have solved the receiver problem, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, we can see today Dallas has been playing very good defense all season. But this Green Bay offense, they've been more, I'd say, anemic rather than any other offense I think I've seen all season. It's kind of like, where's Aaron Rodgers? When he's going to return to form? We know he even said before the game, don't forget, I am the reigning back-to-back MVP. So, I mean, everyone's like, when is that performance going to come to life, Nick? And I think the mental errors that Rodgers was talking about in the beginning of the season are kind of starting to be solved. These young guys are getting into rhythm. They're running the right routes. They're doing what Rodgers is wanting them to do. And they may be kind of trying to trust the system now. Say, hey, this Aaron Rodgers guy, he kind of knows what he's talking about. Maybe we should work on the things he's saying. And I think today, you see the stat lines, Nick. 3 big plays by Watson. Sammy Watkins had a 23-yard catch. Allen Lazard had a 36-yard catch. A lot of big plays. It looks like this offense is kind of starting to click. And it's like you said, watch out, because not only do they have good receivers, but the running game was great today as well. Aaron Jones had 138 yards. A.J. Dillon, 65 yards. So both of them running for 5 yards a carry plus. So that's a big thing that they got going as well. But this Packers team really looks dangerous, starting to heat up. And this is a Packers team that, in that division, the Vikings look really strong. But outside of that, I think this Packers team is the number 2 team. What records aside, whatever the records are, doesn't matter. Packers are the number 2 team in that division as far as teams I'm watching to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's one moment in the game I want to kind of circle back to. It was, I think Watson had already had one of his long touchdowns, his deep vertical route, but it was later in the half. He was a 1-on-1 matchup. He actually had a chance to win again for another big play, but he kind of stopped and cut off his route early and didn't get a chance for the play. I really like that after that mistake, one of those mental mistakes by Watson that Rodgers has highlighted, he came back and made 2 other touchdowns in the big 3rd down catch that I mentioned earlier. after that, right? He moved beyond that mistake. It didn't define him. That's been one of the problems with this Packers wide receiving cores, especially the young guys. They've had guys, make a mistake and then they've shut down the rest of the game. Not so for Watson. He made the mistake and even made more plays after it. That's what I like to see from the Packers receiving group, especially Christian Watson here. And if I'm a Packers fan, I am really excited because with this running game, a defense that has enough playmakers to make games close, as you saw against Dallas, they forced the 2 interceptions of Dak Prescott. If they can have a dynamic big play threat like Watson did today against Dallas, this team is a legit contender in an NFC that frankly is pretty weak, right? It's got the Eagles at the top and then the Vikings, and after that it's a bunch of guys. So if I'm a Packers fan, I'm feeling really good about myself right now.